All right, hello, YouTube universe. Welcome back to another potential realized athletic enterprise video. So something a little bit different today. I have like 15 or 20 minutes. This is the very first live video that I've ever done. So just wanted to hop on and talk about a couple things real quick. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss is the law of conservation of energy, or the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, or excuse me, transmutation of energy. So basically what this law states, and I just have a couple notes written down. What this law states is that the energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It just changes from one form to another. Now, why is this important when it comes to working out? Why is this important when it comes to the gym or when it comes to exercise? From my perspective or my opinion, the reason why the transmutation of energy is important when it comes to the gym is because you're looking to take the emotional content that you have that's driving you to want to change, and you're trying to use that to cause your patterns, habits, and actions to change. That way you can start to become what it is that you see in your mind. A couple of things that I wrote down here are a lot of times when people are in a negative cycle, when you're depressed, when you're anxious, when you don't really have any goals laid out and you're not too sure what to do, a lot of your energy is going towards finding pleasure. So we utilize a lot of our energy to try to find pleasure. Anybody that stops us from trying to find those pleasures or from engaging in that pleasure, we either isolate from or we lash out at, anything like that. And what's important to realize is all of this takes energy. How do we utilize this energy and start to take the energy that we use to go to McDonald's, or the energy that we use to go on an Amazon shopping spree to try to make ourselves feel better? How do we take that energy and utilize it towards making progress rather than chasing pleasure? This is the fundamental process, or one of the first foundational steps, I should say, in attempting to change ourselves. I think that the transmutation of energy is something that's overlooked when it comes to changing yourself or how you act or behave or the patterns that you have on a daily basis. I think a lot of people don't realize that what we're trying to do is change our rhythms and our patterns. A lot of people want to maintain the same rhythm and pattern. However, they want to be a different person. And those two things are very difficult to do simultaneously. So something that I wrote down is, are you using your energy and resources to find pleasure, or are you using your energy and resources to find progress? Are you finding all the excuses and reasons why you can't, or are you using that mental energy to think about all the ways that you can? These two things, in my opinion, require the same amount of energy, and what we do with this energy is what makes a difference. So that's one of the first things I wanted to speak on, is the transmutation of energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's always the same. It just changes from one form to another. So how do you take your anxiety, your depression, your sadness, your frustration, your anger, and instead of using these things to engage in destructive or self-destructive or just negative habits, how do we allow this energy to propel us forward? So what I'd like for you guys to do is go ahead and hop in the comment section and give me your experience with what you have had to go through in the process of transmuting your own energy. When you look back on any time that you felt anger or frustration or sadness and all of a sudden flipped it into motivation or like energy to accomplish a new task, what happened inside of you? And explain to people, that way they can start to understand. Because when I look back on my own process, this is one of the things that I really had to learn how to do. I had to learn how to take my depression, my sadness, my like despair, the feeling that nothing's ever going to get better, and how to turn that into the desire to actually make things better. A lot of, I think, my internal switch looks at it like a challenge. Like, oh, you think that this is what's going to beat me up? Like, watch what I do with this. So that's one of the ways that I transmute my energy. Anytime I feel stuck or frustrated, I look at how to work more effectively and efficiently. I look at ways to take that energy and use it to go towards productive tasks rather than pleasurable tasks that simply dull the emotional content for a short period of time. So, what are your experiences with the transmutation of energy? How do you feel that you're able to transmute energy in one area but not in another area? If you've gone through school and you've graduated, but then on the outside of school you find yourself overweight and for some reason you just can't convince yourself to pick up healthier habits, what was the difference between what made you successful in school versus what makes you unsuccessful in your quest to lose weight? I think these are things that we need to start to correlate. We need to make a connection between, because a lot of you need to realize that you've already completed this process. We build a mountain in front of us, and we make that mountain very, very insurmountable, I think the word would be. So we make it something that's almost impossible to complete. If you simply look at this task ahead of you as and equate it to something that you've already completed in the past, I think you'll find that you might be able to connect the dots a little bit easier. So hop in the comment section and simply be honest with yourself. Do you think that you use your energy to find pleasure, or do you think that you use your energy to find progress? This is something to be able that we need to be able to identify in ourselves. The second thing that I wanted to speak on today, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, is nature versus nurture. And I'm speaking about nature versus nurture in the context of reaching your own personal potential. We all have this idea in our mind that we could be more than we are currently. We look at the habits that we engage in on a daily basis when we go to bed at night. Hopefully, we look back and reflect on the day and think about either ways that we can improve or how we plan to do better tomorrow, things like that. Now, in terms of reaching our potential, the desire to reach your potential, the ability to do difficult tasks, knowing that it's going to be difficult, but that it will lead to something greater later on. Do you all feel that this is something that is natural, that you either have or you do not have? Or do you feel that this is something that can be nurtured? Do you feel that this is a trait that can be developed? Now, there are a lot of different aspects and arguments that can be made here, and I don't necessarily think that it is one or the other. When I look back on my past in history, I had, came from a difficult past, didn't have what most would consider an ideal upbringing. However, on the outside of that, on the other side of that, that has given me the ability to understand a whole lot of different things and to see life from a very unique perspective. I think it's given me the ability to be successful where I've found success. So there can be arguments that are made for both sides. For both sides. I don't necessarily think, from my opinion, that it's nature or nurture. However, I have witnessed through years and years of martial arts training, teaching others, as well as personal training, there are people who come in and engage in training, and when I ask, why are you here? Their response is pretty much, I know I'm supposed to be here. People go to the gym. I know I'm supposed to be at the gym, so I'm kind of here at the gym. However, I don't really truly have any desire to be here. I hate cardio. Lifting heavy things is ridiculous to me, but I know that I'm supposed to be here, so I'm here. I actually have encountered quite a few of those types of clients. And then I have clients who, on the other hand, regardless of how difficult things get, they refuse to quit. They refuse to give up. They refuse to accept defeat. They show up over and over and over and over again. And every time they leave, they're in a sweaty pile on the floor. Rich, talking to you, my guy. But anyways, there are two separate groups of people here. I've had people with me for extended periods of time who will always say, yes, I know where I can do better. I see that I should do better. I recognize the habits that I should change. However, everything within them seems to be fighting against that change. And no matter what they do or how hard they feel that they are trying, they're not able to make the progress that they want to make. And I have struggled as a trainer with certain clients wondering whether or not the investment of the time, energy, and effort is worth it, or at a certain point you have to understand that a person just doesn't have it in them to make the progress that they're telling you that they want to make. So nature versus nurture, what do you guys think? Do you think that the ability to be successful in terms of constant striving to reach your own potential and to be better tomorrow than you were today and better today than you were yesterday, is that something that is natural, or is that something that has to be taught or can be taught and cultivated? And if so, how? I'd like your guys' opinion on what you think it is. As a personal trainer, I'm very curious to get other people's insights into whether or not they think that working with certain people at one point or another is an effort in futility, or whether every single person deserves 1,000% effort, and some people may take 20 years, but it's worth that 20 years if they finally get it. I'm very, very interested to see what your guys' perspective is. This isn't something, again, that I feel that there's a right or wrong answer to. This is something that I'm honestly looking for opinions on, that I'd like to get a discussion on, that I think is very important when it comes to observing ourselves and our quest to reach our ultimate potential. Because, again, that's what this channel is all about. That's what I've kind of built my entire philosophy on when it comes to training and working with others. Is the goal for this is to reach our ultimate potential as human beings. And we use physical exercise and endeavors in order to understand the concepts, philosophies, and principles that are required in everyday life in order to reach our potential as a person. Your potential may be different than another man's potential, but the goal is to reach your own personal potential. This is no contest with anyone other than yourself. So do you guys think that the ability or the drive to reach your own personal potential is nature versus nurture? So those are the two things that I wanted to discuss today. It looks like I ended actually perfectly right on time. So I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded. I have some evening clients that I got to get to. Thank you again, guys, for tuning into another Potential Realized Athletic Enterprise video. I hope to be uploading another video for you guys very soon, and I really, really look forward to reading all of you guys' comments, and I hope we get a good discussion going, because this is going to be really, really interesting for me to see what everybody's opinion on the transmutation of energy, or the law of conservation of energy, as well as the nature versus nurture discussion. So thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.